and welcome to the podcast where friends discuss environmental policies from around the planet.
Welcome back to the Planet Policy Pals, and I am Atra, joined here by Ala. Hey girl.
Hello.
So, as you know, we are still on a short break, but as always, we are back with some extra policy. Our last one was on flash flood, so please do check that one out. Today, we are discussing the environmental impact of dairy milk and other milk substitutes. Really hot topic. So, we thought we might as well get on it. And we might touch on cheese too, because again, we have some crazy cheese lovers out there. I mean, myself included. This idea comes to us from our wonderful and honestly, I would like to say our most loyal listener, Masai, who raised the point that while dairy is certainly environmentally difficult, almond milk consumes a shit ton of water. So today we want to investigate that problem a little bit. So Ala, I hear that there's some meme that you want to show me right now so you can get my reaction in real time. So can you do it like now?
Okay, yes. I wanted to send this to you while we were recording. I don't want you to have too much time to process it. But I've sent it to you if you want to check your phone.
Okay. And here we get the... Oh Okay, guys, this is definitely going to be on our social media because this is such an hilarious meme.
Yeah.
And is it really National Boob Day?
I don't even know. So this was from yesterday. PETA posted this meme. If you follow PETA on Twitter, you have to check this out. And
you have to also follow PETA. Come on, you guys. You're missing out.
They're so ridiculous. There's this cow. And I don't know why, but the cow has like sexy lashes and a sexy brow. And then there's this man drinking from the cow. It's a cartoon. It's hard to describe, but you have to see it. We're going to put it on our social media. PETA is
And I'm going to
hilarious.
send it to my sister who's breastfeeding right now because So let's talk about the impact that dairy milk has on the environment. As we know, that milk production takes place all around the world and the global demand for dairy is continuously increasing, and that's largely because of such a population growth. Incomes are rising, urbanization and westernization of diets in countries, especially in countries such as China and India, because they are the biggest population.
Right.
Today, milk, butter, cheese, yogurt, ice cream, and other dairy products are ubiquitous and is consumed by more than 6 billion people worldwide. Now, with this increasing demand for dairy, of course, there's a lot of growing pressure on natural resources, including fresh water and soil. And I know a lot of people don't know this, but milk production actually impacts the environment in a lot of ways. It's not just about the methane that people just want to talk about. By the way, fun fact, methane comes from the burps of cows. I don't know where you all get your information. But it does. But the scale of these impacts really depends on the practices that dairy farmers and these feed growers have. Right? And farmers can significantly reduce environmental impacts if they really just employ better management practices and technologies. So, dairy cows and their manure, as we know, they produce greenhouse gas emissions, like I said, and they contribute to climate change. Now, on top of that, the poor handling of manure and fertilizers, it can degrade local water resources. And any unsustainable dairy farming and feed production that we do, it really leads to the loss of ecologically important areas such as prairies, wetlands, and forests. Like I said, it has a really considerable effect. The greenhouse gases that we mentioned are methane, nitrous oxide, and carbon dioxide. Just in the US, by the way, the greatest sources of these emissions in milk production, they include feed production, enteric fermentation, and manure management. How it affects the air is that airborne emissions of ammonia can damage downstream habitats, which results in the loss of species diversity. The output of this particulate matter and odor from the on-farm activities can actually also negatively impact air quality. If you guys have ever been around a dairy farm, literally you could be standing 5 miles down the road. There's a wind, you're going to smell it. I'm not even kidding.
No, yeah. Animal farms do not smell the best. I'm not going to lie.
And how it affects water is that also we know that it consumes large amount of water. The daily operations of dairy can consume large volumes of water to grow, feed, water the cows, and manage manure and different product processing. Additionally, the manure and fertilizer runoff from dairy farms, it also pollutes water resources. And this increased nutrients in the local waterways, it can contribute to the growth of algae, which obviously reduces oxygen for aquatic plant and animal life.
Yeah.
Also, it is very heavily disturbing the habitat because 2/3 of the world's agricultural land is used for maintaining livestock, which is beef and dairy cows. 1/3 of the world's land suffers desertification, in large part because of deforestation, overgrazing, and poor agricultural practices.
You know how I used to pronounce that word when I was younger? I used to call it desertification, and I used to call desert dessert.
Have you seen the spellings of these things? I'm not surprised. Animal health and welfare is very highly affected because when you're handling cows and there's improper handling of dairy cows, it actually decreases the productivity of cows because of stress and their bad health, which leads to increased greenhouse gas emissions. And disease on cattle can actually limit export options. So they just get more.
And people react so strongly when they see you mistreat like puppies or kittens. But then we really treat livestock poorly. I know they're going to become food later, but I think at least their quality of life should be nice while they're here.
Yeah. Well, there's this myth. I'm really just going to call it a myth. And that is that dairy is bad for child development. So now I'm not gonna name any names because we can be sued for defamation and we don't make any money on that, so I'm not risking it. But so when I was doing the research for this article, so I read a lot of peer-reviewed studies that were basically begging people, saying that please give a child dairy, use low fat, but please give him it. And if your child is lactose intolerant, they're like, use lactose-free dairy, but please give them dairy. And then I came across this article that I swear to God seemed like it was written by a child who hated their mom for giving them milk every morning. They're like, I'm gonna go on there and be like, dairy is bad, dairy is not good. They don't explain why. They just say, it's not good, it's made for cows' children, it's not made for my children, no.
I mean, but you do know that the reason we even consider dairy good for kids is because big marketing push that brought us here from the dairy industry.
Sure, but I think also it affects studies, right? Studies have shown that dairy is actually power-packed with really essential vitamins and minerals that will actually help your child build strong bones, and it will even prevent some bone-related diseases like rickets and stuff. And the consumption of dairy does not appear to be associated with heart diseases, even though that that's what people say. In fact, some studies have actually found that consuming dairy may protect against chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes, some cancers, and hypertension.
Yeah, it's just that when people are consuming dairy too, a little bit of milk and stuff is good for you, but we do have, especially in Western cultures, dairy isn't everything. That's why, for whatever reason, more Africans tend to be lactose intolerant because traditionally our diets don't include a lot of dairy, and we're fine. We get vitamins elsewhere.
Culturally and traditionally, we drink a lot of milk. People in Pakistan, because it's a very agricultural country, right? A lot of there's this it's almost like a delicacy that's considered in this part of the world, and I hate it, and I will forever shit on it. So basically, the cow's milk from right after it's given birth, so that milk is very curdy. It's there's a specific word for it that we use here. It's called boli. And that milk is because it's literally made for the calf of the cow. I have a real problem with the way that we handle cows. And
that's
it's literally
interesting.
Milk but our culture is very heavily centric on milk. In fact, my grandma is I'm so powerful. She would even after my brother was 15, 16, she'd be like, come try and wrestle me and I can take you down. And she would be able to, because she's like, dude, you don't know how much milk I drank growing up. With that said, There's actually no difference in the nutritional content of the 9 key nutrients that milk has, which is protein, calcium, vitamin D, vitamin A, potassium, phosphorus, vitamin B12, riboflavin, and niacin. And they're both actually found in organic, and they're all actually found in both organic and regular cow's milk. So as a result, regular and organic milk are actually both nutritious and healthy beverage options for your children. You should just select the milk that fits your budget and supports your personal values.
I think, yeah.
When it comes to substitutes like soy milk or almond milk, I'll be very honest. Allah, you're gonna judge me for this, but I've never actively had milk substitutes unless like somebody probably handed me a drink at some point and I wasn't opposed to it. Like they're like, oh, it has almond. I'm like, oh great, as long as it tastes good, I don't really care. But I'm very happy with my low-fat dairy as long as it's sustainably produced. So honestly, if you can make milk in a lab, I'll drink it. I don't care. I ain't stressing.
That's hilarious. So like I said, like a lot of Africans or people of African descent tend to be lactose intolerant, and I am one of them. And when I first moved here, there's milk in everything. There's like more cream in cake here than there was when I was growing up. Like I said, like we like cake. Africans like cake, but we don't use as much milk in Nigeria. They do now, right? But not when I was growing up. Damn, I'm showing my age. And just growing up, I just never really cared for the taste of milk. We have this powdered milk, which that's kind of tasty, but it's very sweetened, which is why it tastes so good. My favorite milk, quote unquote, is oat milk. And I used to love almond milk as well. Masai kind of ruined it for me with the whole water thing. I still like it. Honestly, I like all milk substitutes more than I like milk, except pea milk and hemp milk. But we're going to get into that. If I had to choose, I'd rather drink oat milk. Ajwa thought this was weird, you guys, but I drink oatmeal with oat milk. That's that's my favorite oatmeal, is when you make it with oat milk.
Do you also like having beef in your milk, in your dairy milk? Damn.
No, like it's so delicious, you guys. You get a little oatmeal, some oat milk, a little honey, and cinnamon, and you are good to go. Toss in some blueberries. So yeah, if I had to choose, I would probably choose a milk substitute every time. Even coconut yogurt. Like I don't like regular yogurt. It tastes gross to me. Greek yogurt is okay. I really don't care for the taste of regular milk very much.
The only place that I like coconut milk is in my Thai curry, and that's it.
Fair enough. So let's talk about the environmental cost of these alternative milks that I love so much. And I hope Masai listens to this, because I'm going to prove that alternative options are better. Take it with a grain of salt, though. So a 2018 study by researchers at the University of Oxford showed that producing a glass of dairy milk results in almost 3 times more greenhouse gas emissions than any plant-based milk. And it consumes 9 times more land than any of the milk alternatives. But it is tricky to separate the meat production from the dairy production, because a lot of these figures look at just having cows in general. But, I mean, the study is good. It was a good study, I'm not going to lie. So there's also the indirect costs that you talked about, like grain for feeding, land for rearing, and water for maintaining pastures. Fun fact, your organic cow meat and your organic dairy is actually consuming more land and more water than other practices like regular milk and regular meats, because of how much pastures they have to have. In general, if a non-dairy milk requires tons of water to make, then it'll be worse for the environment than the rest of the options. So for example, rice milk is way worse for the environment than hemp milk, because it requires a lot of water to grow rice in general, and then even more water to turn it into creamy fake milk. Rice milk is delicious, but it doesn't have a lot of nutritional benefits. Speaking of rice milk, it is a lot more popular around the world than I expected. And like I said, it's really creamy. So people who don't want to drink milk can have that and get almost the same vibe. Nut milk is also really popular. But nut milk and rice milk do consume the most water. Not to mention, though, a lot of nut milk has calcium but lacks sufficient protein, or vice versa. So for example, almonds have a lot of calcium but low protein, and then cashew milk has more protein but less calcium. So I would just skip rice milk. we already consume and grow so much rice.
Yeah, just eat it, guys.
Just eat your rice. Hazelnuts are environmentally superior to almonds, right? Because they are pollinated by wind. That's another thing that I did not know about almond milk, is that almonds are killing the bees, you guys. What? No, I'm not even I'm not even kidding. Also, because hazelnuts are grown mostly in the Pacific Northwest, water is less of an issue there, and it's becoming more popular. But it's still like not very cheap to drink hazelnut milk, which is why out of all the nut milks that I have tried, I have actually never tried hazelnut milk. I think I'd like it, just based on all the other things I like, but I've never tried it. Almonds, like we said, require more water than any other dairy alternative besides rice, because they consume 130 pints of water to produce a single glass of almond milk. One glass, according to this Oxford study that I was reading. And because we are drinking more and more almond milk, and of course we eat a lot of almonds, nearly 70% of commercial bees in the US are used to pollinate almonds every year. Last year, a record number, over a third of them, died by the end of the season because of all the pressures and the environmental threats. So just something to keep in mind. Like, I know we love almonds. They're a great source of protein, but almond milk, Hemp plants sequester 4 times more carbon than trees. And hemp does not need a lot of land or water. Oat milk, my favorite milk, happens to be currently your best bet for alternative milk, because oats grow with very little water. They use very little energy. And I will say, although it has half the protein of dairy milk, it is the highest in protein for plant options. And it has some of those vitamins and nutrients that you find in dairy milk as well. Not to mention it's low fat, but it's still creamy and delicious, which is why it's a perfect pair for oatmeal. And it's grown in cooler climates as is. So there's not a lot of deforestation in like developing countries. The only drawback with oat milk right now is that oats are mostly mass produced, and monoculture operations, like, we don't vibe with those guys. They're not the best just for land in general. And of course there's the pesticides because monoculture. Soy and pea milk are similar in environmental costs, but pea milk is more nutritionally balanced. It's just that pea milk really tastes like shit to me. Have you ever tried pea milk, Ajwa?
What do you think?
Okay.
Girl, I haven't had oat milk.
So yeah, pea milk it's not, I mean, I'm sure there's people that like it. It's just not the best tasting to me. So it is more eco-friendly just because it fixes nitrogen in the soil a little better, and it produces slightly less emissions than like soy milk. Plus, soy milk uses like a third of the water almond milk does. Almond milk is not looking so hot, guys. That's all I'm going to say. The thing, though, is that to get enough soy milk, you need like a lot of soybeans. And we're growing so much soy these days that parts of the Amazon are being destroyed to plant soybeans. So, because also if you think of all the vegan alternatives for meat and stuff like that and protein, it's mostly soy. So that's becoming a problem because, again, monoculture systems. But they do use less nitrogen fertilizer since they fix nitrogen. However, soy uses a lot of phosphorus fertilizers in this monocrop situations, and that gives us those runoffs that Aja talked about, which is how you get dead zones. Coconut milk would be more environmentally friendly, and it's delicious, Ajwa, but the problem is how it's farmed.
It should only be used in Thailand in their curries.
It's delicious. Guys, coconut milk in your coffee, revolutionary, okay? I don't care what anybody says. But due to the growing global demand of coconut products, right, we are using like mangroves and coastlines where they have to be grown to grow them. And we're destroying our mangroves, and that's like not cool. What milk should you choose? I don't know, guys. I've given you hella information. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna leave you guys to choose whatever milk you want, but thank you for joining us on this extra policy. We hope you guys are staying safe this summer with this whole Delta variant thing trying to mess up our hot girl summer. Let us know. I know, it's so sad. Let us know, like, will you be switching as a result of new information? Will Ajwa finally give coconut milk a try? Will she try pea milk?
Nope.
Okay. I myself will continue with my nut milk love. But you can catch us on social media, Twitter at Planet Policy Pal, Instagram Planet Policy Pals. Subscribe on YouTube, like our Facebook page. Catch up on old episodes, you guys. We have so much shit to say, as you can tell. But as always,
Keep learning, pal.